are all listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And the hosts are Canadian AF, and I am Alanna.
I'm Kelsey.
I'm making her look for things on the drive because I have a fun, fascinating fact from was it from the internet? I definitely learned it this week, but I can't remember if I originally heard it maybe from something Pat was playing on TV, because he watches a lot of D&D videos, go figure, lately.
Yeah.
So there's a picture on the drive that was a tweet that somebody posted about how the Golden Girls, the characters from the Golden Girls, were the inspiration for the ultimate D&D perfect adventuring party.
Really?
When the guys first made it in the 80s. Okay,
Oh
I'll pull
my
it up.
god.
Hang on. I had a Reddit post up about it. Yeah,
I want to
the tweet.
be. I never watched Golden Girls, but I want to be Betty White. I like her.
Her character was amazing. I also read that originally she was gonna be Blanche or whatever. Like they were switched. Like she was gonna be the slutty one or something. The lady that plays Blanche was gonna be the ditzy one, but then they wanted to switch it at the last minute because apparently, I think they said Betty White played a similar character on a different show she'd just been on, possibly Mary Tyler Moore. I don't know. I was like, oh, weird. It's a funny show.
I just
Yeah,
find
the
it funny
tweet.
that they say when they started they were not that old actually. They were
Yeah, they. I don't think any
in
of them were
like their
super old. In fact,
50s or something.
the lady that plays the mother of the main girl, Dorothy, like the lady that plays Sophia, they said she was 1 year younger than her daughter. That was the lady that was playing her daughter. And they had to do makeup to make her look older, especially after she went and got a
Wow.
facelift.
Jeez.
I may have gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole. No. um but yeah, I learned that, and then it said it was from a tweet somebody put. During the development of AD&D 2E in the 1980s, which was just the first version of Dungeons and Dragons, the Golden Girls served as the template for the ideal adventuring party. And that's because anybody that plays knows you can be any of the different classes. Like you can be a warrior. My character is like a druid because, of course, obsessed with stone circles and nature and crap. Why wouldn't I be a druid?
Yeah.
So Dorothy is supposed to be, she would be a warrior. Rose would be a cleric. So they're think clergy, they're get their power from their deity or whatever. And then Sophia, the mom, would be a wizard, and Blanche would be a rogue, of course. Which,
Nice.
yeah, that's what Pat's character is, a rogue slash a ranger. So you can be multiple classes too. It's very kind of complicated, but I think that's why people like it. Just almost like the original what is it when people kind of dress up all in their favorite
LARPing?
fandom? Yeah, like LARPing and cosplaying, and it's you get to dress up your character the way you want, and like
Yeah.
playing Sims or whatever. You get to be something that maybe you couldn't be otherwise, but it's fun anyway. That
Nice.
was my intro fact. Nothing to do with our topic at hand.
No.
So happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. You're listening to this
Right?
on St. Patty's. Hope you're having a good time and drinking some good green beer or whatever is probably just some good Irish beer. Would be a
Yeah.
better option than drinking crap with, what is it, the food coloring in it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just terrible food coloring.
Yeah, not a great tradition. Don't know who came up with that.
We'll talk about it. I do know.
Oh God, a
Yeah.
teaser, a
Mm-hmm.
sneaky peeky.
Spoiler alert.
uh, yes, this comes out. Hopefully, it's warmer this week as we're from when we're recording this. But it's good week. Spring. It's St. Patty's. It's my birthday week. It's happy Pisces
Yeah.
season. Good times.
All the clocks sprung ahead. Hopefully nobody is sleep
Oh,
deprived.
it
It's
doesn't look like
annoying.
spring out our
Yeah.
windows right now because March came
No.
in like a lion here in
Yeah.
Alberta, or at least in Edmonton.
Yeah, it's been pretty cold.
And it's like a little snowy when it's not cold. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it keeps snowing just like a centimeter a day. Just like whispers of snow every day.
We really haven't had any
Like,
all winter. It's weird. I don't get it.
yeah,
But
not too much.
welcome to the we bitch about weather section because I'm 95. But
my my bones ache.
I went outside today and then the dog was like rolling in the snow. Fenn's just like loving it. He's like,
Aw,
hey, mom, look at me. I'm rolling around
that's
in the
cute.
snow. You're outside with me. He loves it when anyone goes out in the backyard with him. Also, he hadn't
Aw.
gone for his adventure today. His Pat was too busy playing video games. I should have taken him, but I was too busy. I had to run to the
Yeah.
store, then I had to finish notes. Guys,
Yeah.
podcasting is hard, okay? It's a lot of work. Oh, clearly my calendar is just brimming. This is the most, that's the most busy I ever get. I have a podcast and I do D&D every couple weeks.
Right?
That's my life. It's fine. We're kind of homebodies.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. I will get outside once it gets freaking nicer out there.
Yeah,
Go for some
definitely.
walks. Anywho, we hope you're all doing well wherever the hell you are. Oh, my sister went on a trip. She's in Europe still, possibly now, doing a little tour of her own. Took a
Cool.
little. Well, my brother, I thought he said she was on like a boat tour, and so I was like, "Are you like doing like a river cruise?" And she was like, "Well, I did like an evening cruise and stuff." So I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, an evening
That'd be
cruise of the
cool.
Danube. That'd be awesome."
I
Yeah, with
like
the
all the
sunset.
lights. It's my favorite thing about flying at night is seeing all the beautiful lights underneath you.
Yeah, that can
You
look
can
really
watch the
cool.
little cars and you can see the street lights. So cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's probably having a good time.
Fun.
She's still listening, so that's all that matters. No. Tell everyone you meet in Europe about the podcast.
Yes. It's a requirement.
Oh, and if you are frequent listeners, please drop us a rating. I'm still waiting to see
Mhm.
more than like the 11, because it like will tell you how many Spotify ratings your rating is
Oh,
based
okay.
on. And ours was like not very many. I told Pat to do it. I said, I'm still only at 11 ratings. And he said, okay, I'm going to go rate
Yeah.
your show.
Give us a rating if you like us. We have quite a few people that have subscribed that Spotify let us know
Like,
about.
yeah, they tell you how many people are following you now.
Yeah, which is cool because we didn't have that before. So thank you, everybody that's following us.
Mm-hmm. We like. If you're new here,
Mhm.
welcome. And we talk about all the weird. And today
Yeah.
we're talking about all the weird in Ireland, if we didn't say that already. Well, we're doing lore and legends again because we'd love to do some good lore and
Yeah.
legends.
There's been a lot this month. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed it. It's kind of,
I like it. I like the Celtic theme.
yeah.
I hope, of course, I loved Scottish crimes. If you guys
Yeah.
know me,
That's fun.
but that was fun. Um, and then, well, we're gonna have some other fun stuff coming at you here and on
Mhm.
Patreon, of course, but
Yeah.
we'll
Oh, pardon.
we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Um, Kelsey's probably going to kick us off, but it's going to be
As
good.
always. I
As
think there's only
always, but
been like one episode where I didn't go first.
I don't know. I like to take turns sometimes. Maybe we will start. You guys maybe could let us know if you like something
Yeah.
different. You could talk to us about anything. Talk to me on Instagram. Let me know you exist and you're not just a
Just say
bot.
hi.
Where are these downloads coming from? I don't know who these people are.
Right? So, I have two things for my segment. My first one, in the
Yay.
for it being St. Patrick's Day, of course had to talk about leprechauns,
That's a
which
big one.
is kind
I
of
mean,
stereotypical of me. Actually, after I finished my research, I was like, oh, they kind of don't really have anything to do with each other, but in like North America,
okay.
we very much put them hand in hand now.
Right. The commercial is St.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick's Day, buy your
Yeah.
green beer and your whatever. I don't know. What else do people still do? Once I had it was almost like a Mardi Gras necklace, and then I had a
Yeah.
little Irish, well, I had a green mug on the end of it, plastic with a little shamrock or whatever.
Cute.
I mean, it's just, but yeah, it's super over commercialized. And I don't even
Mm-hmm.
know if I know anything about the real legends of leprechauns and stuff.
I
So it should be
didn't.
fun.
I probably thought I did, but yeah, I didn't. So looking into this was kind
Nice.
of enlightening and I enjoyed it. One of the things I came across that said that actually, according to a 2011 survey that was done by the Cooley Distillery, so
Oh, nice.
it's
Distillery.
yeah, it said in 2011 that 33% of Irish people did think that leprechauns were real. Uh,
Ooh, that's a
yeah, this
third.
was, yeah. And well, they did comment on the fact that ghosts and aliens, their belief are also fairly common. That in Ireland, 2/3 of people say they don't believe in leprechauns, even if they do believe in like ghosts and aliens.
Okay. So some people
Yeah.
just believe in certain paranormal
Mhm.
creatures, but not necessarily leprechauns.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then they also said in their study, they found that 55% said that they believe that leprechauns did exist in the past. So over half of them,
Mm.
people surveyed, even so, a third of them believed they're real, and even more, 55% of them said that they definitely believe they existed in the past.
Yeah, that's
So,
kind of like a lot of people I have heard and I don't know, believe that about dragons and things like that, just because we
yeah.
have so much evidence of them. So I can get behind that. Yeah.
So, some folk traditions say that leprechauns are descended from the uh, Tatha Danan.
Oh, nailed it. I don't know.
Did I? I'm like, I have no
No
idea.
idea.
Sorry. I didn't I didn't look
Perhaps.
up I didn't look up any of the
Oh no.
pronunciations.
Kelsey never look up how to say. No, just kidding. I often don't have time to do that either.
Yeah. So these people were in every site seemed to go back and forth.
Sorry.
Some sites said that they came to Ireland and they conquered and were conquering and then lost and were forced underground. But the original source I read
Oh.
said that they were in Ireland and they were conquered by Malaysians that came to Ireland, and that the Malaysians forced the Tuatha Danann underground, and that's where leprechauns came from, like because they're kind of underground
Oh.
dwellers.
But they lived above ground before that. That is odd.
Yeah, well, that they were
That's
like
pretty
regular
wild.
people. They were like a race of people, and then when they were forced underground, they, I guess, like evolved or changed.
Damn. That's an
Hmm.
interesting theory or whatever.
It comes up and it came up in almost every source. as being
Okay,
one of the
okay.
options. So it is fairly popular, I guess, for explanation. And
Interesting
some,
origin story.
yeah, some also consider leprechauns to be the true natives of Ireland and believe that they are descended from Irish royalty.
Ooh, fancy
Hmm.
pants.
Yeah. They're also said to be able to survive, each of them, for hundreds of years. So they could be very, very old.
Oh, damn. Almost
Hmm.
immortal. Like elves
Yeah.
are often,
Yeah.
depicted that way.
Yeah, they have a lot in common, like elves, pixies, sprites, kind of in that family of creatures, I guess.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool.
A good explanation for, because you love etymology. Uh,
Busted. No.
from good old mythos.fandom.com. Keeps coming up like every week now.
The most reputable source. No.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's basically Wikipedia for creatures. But
All the good
it
cryptic
said,
podcasters should know it.
yeah, it said that the word leprechaun is derived from the Irish Gaelic word leprechaun. It's basically
Okay.
leprechaun with like a crazy spelling, and it's defined,
Possible different pronunciation. Who knows? Yeah.
yeah, it's defined as a pygmy, a sprite, or a leprechaun. Great.
Okay. A little dude.
Yeah, we define leprechaun as a leprechaun. Uh,
Helpful. No.
yeah, right? And then by Patrick Deneen, the Irish historian, lexicographer, and Gaelic revivalist.
Holy
Um,
shit. Okay.
yeah, that was
Get
his
it.
definition.
I don't know what the fuck a
Further,
lexicographer is, but I like it.
I
Sounds like a
know,
word nerd or something.
lexicographer. It's got to be something with like lexicon, so like
A
word graph.
lexicographer. Yeah.
Lexicographer.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, what is a lexicographer?
We're just gonna keep saying it. A person
It's
who
gotta do.
compiles person who compiles dictionaries.
Oh,
Ooh. A word
I mean
nerd.
a word. Love it. It said further derivation. I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay,
Uh,
derivation.
yeah. I was like, I did not type this, as you can tell.
Couldn't they just said it derives from?
Right? It's
But he's a word
unknown.
nerd, so he
Yeah.
can't.
Uh, yeah. It's unknown, and the word may be a corruption of Lacropan, Middle Irish,
Ooh.
from the Old Irish Lucopan, which is a compound of the root lu, meaning small, and corp, meaning body. So, like, small body.
Oh wow, so
And
like very straight
yeah,
translation almost. Small
all of
body.
these are. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, the latter is derived from the Latin word meaning corpus, body, and the alternative folk etymology proposes leprechaun is derived from leithbragan, which is a compound of leith, meaning half, and brog, meaning brogue, linking it
It's
to
a
the
half
shoemake.
man.
Yeah,
Like Tyrion
basically.
Lannister. Yeah.
Yeah. I think brog or brogue has to do with this because it says that that word links it to the shoemaking profession of leprechauns, which is
Oh
fairly
my
common.
god.
Yeah, so it's half shoe or half shoemaker, I guess.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. They're little
alternate,
cobblers.
yeah, alternative spellings in English have included lubrican, leprechaun, and just leprechaun, but this time Lepreehawn. Leprechaun.
JW. Oh, that first one
Yeah.
sounded like a type of lubricant or something.
I know it's Lubrican. Lubricon. I'm like,
It's
okay.
literally like lubricant without the T.
Yeah.
Almost. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, leprechauns. All right, we see you.
Some modern Irish books use the spelling, I don't know if it would be leprechaun.
Oh,
I
that's
think
fun.
I think that's the one that they use for Gaelic.
Okay.
Oh, slightly different. A slightly different spelling from the Gaelic one.
I
Yeah.
had some Irish Gaelic come up in mine, but then they said it's also just called Irish sometimes. I was like, okay, cool. I'm learning so much.
Right.
Every day.
As we kind of talked about, they're similar creatures. They can be not the same, but their similar creatures include brownies.
Oh,
The
there's some
yeah
of those
the
in Willow. They're really funny creatures. They're like these tiny, tiny
yeah
little men.
yeah they're normally very very small. The brownies.
Yeah.
Uh, the Chlorocon. Chlorocon.
Oh,
Yeah, I think they
the
come
who
up
now?
again later. Say what? Elves. There's Elilon, hob and hobgoblins. There's
Love a good
kobolds,
hobgoblin.
yeah, I have to
There was
cover
some
them.
corn. Sorry, quick anecdote. There was some corn uh creatures they were fighting in this D&D thing I was watching on YouTube, and they started calling them corn cuties even though they're supposed to be fearsome. They were like pretty adorable. And then in the comments somebody was like, why didn't they go with cobgoblin? Like it was right there.
Oh, because hobgoblin, like goblin, does not denote that they're cute.
No, he didn't want them to be cute. The DM, he didn't intend them to be cute, but then the players were all like, they're so adorable.
Yeah.
It was kind of backfiring. Ugh.
Other ones include the kobolds, sprite, genies, and pixies.
Pixies.
Mm-hmm. In Irish mythology, the leprechaun is a fairy-like creature, often mischievous, and typically spend their time making shoes or hiding away their coins in hidden pots of gold at the end of rainbows, which we all
Oh
know,
my
of course.
god. That's all they do.
Yeah. Uh, they're believed to be solitary creatures. Their pots of gold are said to be treasure crocks, actually, that were buried by people during the wars. So they
Oh,
kind of like
okay.
hide their money so that during the war it can't be confiscated or
Yeah, like if
taken.
your town's gonna be invaded, then you might be like,
Yeah,
go bury the silver. The
yeah.
British are coming.
So, yeah, that's what they say these pots of gold are said to
Hmm,
be. That leprechauns find them after the war and they kind of take them over for their own. And
interesting.
according to, I think I have him later. I don't know, this guy seems to know a lot about leprechauns, but they never say his first name. It just
Have
kept
a
saying,
little pot of gold.
"Aw,
We did a little craft at work one year. It's a little plastic cauldron filled with fake gold coins.
cute." Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. They never say his first name and they never say like why he keeps getting quoted in stuff. But
Oh, okay.
according
Mystery
to
man.
Mick Annally, the leprechaun is the son of an evil spirit and a degenerate fairy, and is not wholly good nor wholly evil.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a
You gotta watch out
degenerate
for
fairy.
those. Yeah,
Yeah,
degen fairies.
yeah. Leprechauns are said to be only found in Ireland, typically in rural areas away from general population. They're said to live in underground caves with their entrances disguised as rabbit holes, which is cute.
Love to fall down a
And
good rabbit hole.
right?
Oh.
And they can also be found living inside the hollowed out trunk of a fairy tree.
Oh, like when you see people paint little fairy doors on the side of a tree.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. They're also well known for their love of Irish music and traditional dance.
Oh.
Yeah. As I briefly mentioned before, they're known for making shoes, and but a few things I read said this is in part because of their love of dancing. Actually, wears out their shoes so much because they'll dance until their shoes wear out. So that's why they have to repair them constantly because they just love
Oh
dancing so
no.
much. Yeah,
Are they sure they're not being afflicted with a dancing plague? When people
right.
just can't stop.
I guess that's what I thought of too when I was reading that.
Right? That's intense.
They say if you're out in a rural area and you hear a tap, 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 it may just be the sound of a leprechaun hammering nails into the soles of their shoes and like repairing them.
Oh, okay, just to repair them. I was
Yeah.
like, but why for? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, just love putting nails in my own shoes. Um, oh, from Wikipedia, this is in McAnally's 1888 account. Again, don't know who this guy is. He said that the
He's
leprechaun was not.
McAnally.
Yeah, I don't know. Said that the leprechaun is not a professional cobbler, but was frequently seen mending his own shoes as, quote, he runs about so much that he wears them out with great frequency.
He runs
And
amok.
yeah, he claims, the perfect opportunity for a human being to capture the leprechaun, like when they're mending their shoes and probably distracted,
Oh,
and refusing to release him until the leprechaun gives his captor supernatural wealth.
damn. Drives
Yeah,
a hard bargain.
right? Uh, this one I didn't know really where to put it, but there is a misconception that leprechauns are drunks and that are sometimes mistaken for cluricons, which I think I mentioned before. Um,
Oh.
I didn't look into it more, but one source just quickly said that cluricons are drunken creatures who love to cause chaos around Ireland during the night. You know, good old like drunken shenanigans.
I mean, I would expect any kind of trickster sort of
Yeah.
type being or even leaning being to be a little bit promiscuous, but maybe that's just stems from the whole like there's kind of a stereotype about Irish people being drugs, which is
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. It's all racism and whatnot.
My next section I have is basically about like their attire and what they look like, which
Oh,
was pretty
fiddle
interesting.
dee. What do
Leprechauns
they
usually
wear?
leprechauns usually take the appearance of an old man with a red or white beard. Never
Okay,
heard of
yeah.
one. Oh, I guess yeah, red. A good old like redhead beard. Okay.
Yeah,
First I
yeah,
was
that
like a
seems like
red beard. What? But
No, that sounds about right. That sounds normal.
yeah, they're typically dressed in red or a green coat, which we'll get to. There's a lot of stuff about the color that they wear.
Ooh.
Hmm.
I'm
Popular
just
depict.
picturing like, the fighting Irish. It's some
Yeah,
sports team or something, and their
we'll
logo
get
is
to
like
it. Yeah.
okay, I was like, that's all I could picture.
Popular depictions show them as being the size of a small child with a beard and a hat and sitting on a toadstool.
Oh,
However,
okay.
I love it.
I know. I
However,
was like, that seems demeaning somehow. I don't know.
yeah.
Just put them on a
Uh,
toadstool. What do they care? They're little.
Depending where the leprechaun story is from, they originally had several different appearances. Before the 20th century, they almost exclusively wore red instead of green.
Oh.
And yeah, according to W.B. Yeats, is it Yeats? Yeats? Yeats! Uh,
Yes. Right.
Yeats. The
I know, some
solitary,
of those looks weird.
yeah. The solitary leprechauns were said to wear red jackets, while the trooping fairies wear green.
Okay. They're like two different
Yeah.
little factions or whatever.
Hmm.
Two little
Yeah.
gangs.
Their jackets are said to have 7 rows of 7 buttons each. And
Oh my
in
god.
Ulster, they're said they're when they are being mischievous, they can leap onto the wall, and they wear a pie peacorn hat, and they're so when they're being
Pie corn?
mischievous, yeah,
Huh. I don't know if I've heard of that. I've heard of tricorn.
yeah, no, uh,
Weird.
it said when they're being mischievous, they jump onto the wall and they spin on the point of the hat, like upside down with their feet in the air. Just in Ulster, though, nowhere else, only there.
Like a turtle or
Uh,
a Bowser that's tipped over onto
yeah,
his back. Like that's how you have to kill some of the Bowser bosses. They have to get onto
yeah,
their back so you can spin them. That's the only way you
yeah.
can hit them. That's so weird.
Uh, these next are from the mythosfandom.com again, because these were like quotes about some of the different attire depending on where
Nice.
you live. Uh,
Oh.
these are all. Why were these separate? This is so stupid. It's from the same guy. According to Mick and Annalie, again, we just love him. Quote, he is about 3 feet high and is dressed in a little red jacket or roundabout with red
Oh.
breeches buckled at the knee, gray or black stockings, and a hat cocked in the style of a century ago, over a little
Mm-hmm.
old withered face.
Yeah, it is very like yeah, of that certain time where they wore like,
Mhm.
the breeches or the breeches, and you're like, oh,
Especially the next sentence. Round his neck is an Elizabethan ruff, and frills of lace are at his wrists.
oh Jesus, like the whole
Yeah,
Shakespeare collar deal. Okay.
Elizabethan ruff.
I do like that. I like to play with my dog's ruff. I call it his ruff.
Yeah.
Because you take off his like collar, like when you let Akitas go without a
Mm,
collar, their fur is just like this magnificent mane of neck
yeah.
fur. Yeah. It's beautiful.
The quote continues saying, on the wild west coast, where the
Ooh.
Atlantic winds bring almost constant rains, he dispenses with the ruff and frills and wears a
Oh. Sorry.
frizzy coat over his pretty red suit, so that,
Oh.
unless on the lookout for the cocked hat, ye might pass a leprechaun on the road and never know it's himself that's in it at all.
Oh, that's not the Wild Wild West. I was picturing going to the Wild Wild West. I was like, wait, we're on the West Coast, like and you're
Yeah,
like Atlantic winds, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're in Ireland,
yeah.
right?
uh, and then this one had different ones. It was more like town based, I guess. From the same guy, Mick Ganley. Said there was differences between leprechauns or loghermans,
Who's it? Okay.
loghermans from different regions. The northern leprechaun wore a military red coat and white breeches with a broad brimmed high pointed hat on which he would sometimes stand upside down. Uh,
Right. On his head.
yeah,
Without the spinning.
without the spinning this time.
Okay, all right.
The
Just trying to keep up.
right? I'm like, this is so weird. The
There's a lot of
lurid,
acrobatics going on, like some Cirque du Soleil shit. I
yeah,
don't really know, but I kind of love it.
the Lurigadowny of Tipperary wore an antique slash jacket of red with peaks all around and a jockey cap, also sporting a sword, which he uses as a magic wand.
A sword as a wand. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No further explanation given.
No, none. And a magic wand or a sword is never brought up again.
I mean, that would be handy, because you get the sword
Yeah.
end for the pointy end for the stabbing,
Yeah.
but then it's also magical.
The Lura County,
Oh, the
but then
county
it just
names. They're so hard.
the yeah, Lura County, but then there's just of and then a Wikipedia like link that says
Okay.
Wikipedia/Carry. So I don't know if it's supposed to be of Carry because there's no other
Oh,
word there. So I think they just fucked up on their hyperlink. I think it's
oh,
supposed to be
that's
the
confusing.
Lura County of Carry was a fat, pursy little fellow whose jolly round face rivals in redness the cutaway jacket he wears. That
Oh,
always has 7 rows of 7 buttons in each row.
yeah, that's a lot of buttons.
Yeah.
That
The
just.
Clara County of Monaghan wore a swallow-tailed evening coat of red with a green vest, white breeches, and black stockings, shiny shoes, and a long cone hat without a brim, sometimes used as a weapon.
These guys are Jason Bourne. They can use a hat. They can use whatever.
Yeah. Um yeah, so that's what they had for like more detailed descriptions. Gordo, stop kicking my mic. Many believe that the change in their clothing color from red to green may be either due to the general popularity of green in Ireland, that has a lot
Oh.
or partly to do with the prominence of green on the Irish flag, as well as the name Emerald Isle.
There's a whole
But
green
yeah,
theme.
there's a lot of green.
It's
Uh,
beautiful.
Catching a leprechaun is not easy and often discouraged. They can be smart and very quick and possess magical powers that allow them to vanish into thin air. And
It'd be hard then
yeah,
to catch
if
one.
if caught, they will grant you 3 wishes, but be careful because making the wrong wish could result in a lifetime of bad luck.
Ooh, careful what
And
you wish for.
exactly. The first known reference of them appears in the medieval tale Adventure of Fergus' son. Fergus' son of
Fergus. Oh, sorry, that's
Fergus.
Scottish.
Adventures of
Jamie's son
Fergus.
is Fergus.
Yeah. Um yeah, Adventure of Fergus, son of Letty, in which Fergus, the King of Ulster, falls asleep on a beach only to wake up while he is being dragged into the sea by 3 leprechauns.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, he's able to capture them somehow while he's being dragged into the sea and is granted 3 wishes in exchange for his release. So he's somehow able to capture them and like
Well, I was thinking they're
yeah.
tiny. How are they dragging him? Like
Right?
he's
Yeah.
kind of like he's like
Well,
three little guys just like pulling on your pant legs.
I guess while he was asleep.
I guess that would help, but still, yeah, he wakes up. He's like, "What the fuck?" He flings them off.
Yeah. Oh, this one I also didn't know where to put it. This is almost the end for leprechauns. It said there's also said to be no female leprechauns.
Well, yeah, you never do see any girls. It's like the
Yeah.
Smurfs. They only got wait. There's just one
There's
Smurf.
Smurfette.
Smurfette. Maybe that's what it is with leprechauns. There's one female
Oh
leprechaun
god.
somewhere,
Feel
like a
bad for
hive
her.
mother. Yeah, right. So gross.
Uh oh, we mentioned a few of them. So in popular culture, there's many films, cartoons, and advertising for companies that have
Mm,
created a very specific image of leprechauns, which is often very stereotypical and often can be
yeah,
derogatory compared to like this Irish folklore we've kind of talked about. There's a lot
sure.
more to it if people want to look it up.
Oh yeah.
Bands have used them as inspiration. They've also been used by some huge companies. The ones that were listed most often were Lucky the Leprechaun, being the mascot of Lucky Charms cereal.
Okay. His name is
Yeah.
Lucky. All right.
Yeah, his name's Lucky. He's not the
Okay.
only Lucky the Leprechaun, even. in this list.
Get this. We have some in our cupboard, and it's not for the teenage daughter. No. Pat buys the Lucky Charms. He
There's
still
not.
loves
I like
little
Lucky
kid cereals.
Charms. I also
I don't.
love Trix cereal, and tricks are for kids.
Oh, looks
It's
for
like their
kids.
slogan. Not for
Okay, I
you,
like
you
a good
silly
like
rabbit.
Captain Crunch. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't mind a good, mascot or
sugary.
whatever, but like Rain doesn't like the fake marshmallow. She doesn't even like them in her hot chocolate. And actually, when I had a bowl of the Lucky
Oh,
Charms, I was like, I don't know if I like the texture of these very much anymore. Like there was just so many in it too. I was
oh.
like, they have unicorns? Well, maybe they are. I said unicorns. I don't know, but
There's like
there was
rainbows. There's pots of gold. There's clouds.
okay. Yeah,
There's
there's shooting
horseshoes.
stars.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was a lot. I
yeah.
might be growing out of them.
I still like them, and I always complain there isn't enough marshmallows. So
Come have a bowl.
yeah.
Mm.
Uh, so the next one is the Notre Dame Leprechaun is the mascot of the Fighting Irish sports team at the Notre Dame University. Let's talk
Yeah, with the
about
fists up.
yeah. The Boston Celtics logo features Lucky the Leprechaun as their mascot. Lucky Charms.
Oh,
Yeah, he's also Lucky the Leprechaun.
Celtics.
That's his name.
It's always lucky.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
And professional wrestler Dylan Mark Postal. I don't know if you competed
sure.
and appeared as Hornswoggle, a leprechaun who lived under the ring for the majority of his
Oh,
WWE tenure. Don't know
oh,
when
I
that
know the
was.
name Hornswoggle when you say that.
Hornswoggle.
Yeah, he would
Yeah.
pop out from under the
Yeah.
thing. Oh God, I think he was a little person.
Oh, I love the name Hornswoggle. That's a great name.
The only other ones I know that did that was the Bella twins because sometimes they would do twin magic where one would be fighting and then the other one would hide under the ring and then they'd come out and like be like bam, like sucker punch. Yeah. Oh my God, weird. Okay. Hornswoggle.
Yeah, I should have looked up. I had no pictures for you for the drive. Sorry. I was like, she knows what leprechauns look like. In this stereotypical version, that's good enough.
Yeah, that guy he's a little person wrestler. He's only 4'5".
Nice. It's cool. Dylan Mark Postal. And the 1993 American horror slasher film Leprechaun and its sequels, which I think I've seen 2 of, including a one I watched this week, actually.
Nice.
After I picked this as my case, was it on Netflix or was it on like Plex that I'm using to watch stuff? But it was like Leprechaun Origins or the origin story. And I was like, yes. I was like, it's the lowest rated of the whole series. It's the only one I want to watch.
Right, but the original is pretty well liked, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one with like Jennifer Aniston? I think she's in that.
I think so. I've never seen that one. I want to.
Oh, okay. You just watched number 3?
I think I watched number 6. There was a lot that came up. I watched.
Oh, holy shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the
I watched the last one.
2010s. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
it's Warwick Davis. Okay. He's from
yeah.
Willow. He's like my favorite.
So the sequels and everything, these movies feature a killer leprechaun portrayed by Warwick Davis, which is cool.
Yeah.
If you're
gonna have to watch it.
Yeah, I want to watch more of them, especially the first few that are well rated, I guess.
How was the other one?
I watched it in the morning while I was getting ready for work. So honestly, I think I was looking at the screen for like a third of the time. It wasn't terrible, but I'd say it was decent. I'd call it like a B-rated like horror movie. I mean, it wasn't anything worse than like half of the kind of meh movies. Like,
yeah, maybe it would have been a little different in the theater, but maybe it still would have been a little.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you're ever in Dublin, you can go to the National Leprechaun Museum.
Ooh, I want
But
to.
I tried to get a picture of it, and I think I got one of the outside, but all I could really find is apparently there's a giant chair you can sit in and take a picture, because that's basically all that Google has of the whole museum is people sitting in the chair taking their own picture and nothing
Oh
else.
my gosh.
I couldn't even confirm
There?
what the outside of the building looked like.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is with this giant chair obsession? That I can that makes sense to me in front of a leprechaun
Yeah.
museum, but also if my dad's got a bunch of pictures where they found this giant. It's like a giant him and his ex in this giant Adirondack chair, like those
Yeah.
wooden freaking yeah.
Those are
Like
a lot of
where
those
is
ones.
this?
Yeah.
It's somewhere in Nova Scotia. It's got to be because they've got those peppered all over their national parks and crap
Yeah.
like that.
My
Weird.
last thing for leprechauns is just that leprechauns actually have their own holiday coming
Oh.
up not too far away on May 13th. But in
Oh.
America, and I'd say in North America, they're often associated with St. Patrick's Day, along with the color green and shamrocks, which we'll get to.
Yeah. Exactly. I would have put them more associated
Yeah.
with March. That's how we think of them here.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi,
Um,
Gordo.
yeah, he
Probably
knew.
picked that up on the mic.
Yeah,
I
I don't
heard
have.
his little jingle.
I'm sure there's like crazy things about the history of St. Patrick's Day, but this is kind of a fairly brief overview.
Mm-hmm.
So for the history of St. Patrick's Day, there's some conflicting stuff, which we'll get to, but it's celebrated annually on March 17th, and it's the anniversary of the death of St. Patrick in the 5th century. So long,
Oh,
long time ago. Yeah,
damn.
not the 15th, the 5th. Uh,
Yeah, that's hard to
and
comprehend.
yeah, the Irish have observed this day as a religious holiday for over 1,000 years.
Hmm.
According to History.com, on St. Patrick's Day, which falls during the Christian season of Lent, Irish families would traditionally attend church in the morning and then celebrate in the afternoon. Uh,
Oh, churchy
mhm.
holiday. That's, yeah, that's
Yeah,
not what we do here.
no. Lenten prohibits against the consumption of meat were actually waived for just St. Patrick's Day, and people would be allowed to
Okay.
dance, drink, and feast on the traditional meal of Irish bacon and cabbage. There's a few other traditional meals on
Oh.
St. Patrick's Day that I ran across. I think I have them listed later.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
think of some lovely Irish pub dishes.
Yes. St. Patrick was the patron saint of Ireland and its national apostle. Born
Apostle.
apostle. Oh, I'm like, I don't go to church, so.
I know that's one of those words that's like, what? Who says this out loud?
I know, it's stupid. I hate silent letters. It makes no sense. Just get rid of them
Right?
all. Born in Roman Britain as Maewyn Sacat, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. He was kidnapped and brought to Ireland as a slave at just the age of 16. There's a bunch of stuff that
Dang.
he did, but this is like the least I could get it down to. He
This is
escaped
St.
6.
Patrick?
Yeah, like
Oh,
he's a
okay,
real
sorry.
person.
Wow.
He escaped 6 years later, but did eventually return back to Ireland and was credited with bringing Christianity to Ireland.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's why they like him then.
Yeah, he is known by many names, including Magnus. Yeah, Magnus,
Oh.
Cotharithicus, and
Oh
most
boy.
commonly Patricius. I'd say
Oh,
it is
that's fun.
Patricius.
I'm gonna start
There's
calling
too many
Pat
eyes.
that.
Patricius.
Patricus.
Yeah,
Patricius. It
it
sounds
might be
very like
Patricus.
Roman
Yeah.
empery.
Well,
Yeah.
he was born in Roman Britain, so yeah. all these names.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
5th century craziness.
Um, and yeah, there's a lot of other stuff he did during that time, but in the time since St. Patrick's death, believed to be on March 17th, in the year
Oh.
461,
That's not a
the
thing.
the mythology of his life became ingrained with Irish culture, as well as his well-known explanation for the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, using the 3 leaves of the Irish clover, the shamrock. So apparently that's like a big thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like because like in Ireland they really liked threes, so they
Sorry.
really liked the clovers or shamrocks. So he's like, this one's the Father, this one's the Son, and the Holy Spirit. There's 3 of them, and
They're just trying to console themselves because it's not a 4-leaf clover, which is,
yeah,
the really rare and lucky one.
exactly. Uh, Getting into like celebrations, people first began celebrating or observing St. Patrick's Day in the 9th or 10th century, and the first
Oh,
parade.
wow.
This is where I said it's like very confusing. The first parade was not held in Ireland, but was instead held in the US, um, by like a bunch of Irish
Okay.
immigrants that had come over.
But this
Because
couldn't
they're
have been in
still
the 9th century or whatever then.
no, because in Ireland they still observe it primarily as like a religious thing. Over here, it's more like woo party kind of thing.
It totally is. We're like, I'm a little Irish, or I just want to drink today.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, so the first parade was not held in Ireland, but was instead held in America. There's different
America. Okay.
America. I found 3 different dates and 3 different places that all claimed it was the first one.
Oh my
So
God.
it's
Of course.
either all of these are March 17th. It's either 1601 in the Spanish colony that is now St. Augustine, Florida,
Oh, damn,
or
Florida.
or Boston in 1737, or Savannah, Georgia in 1813. Then I just put a bunch of question marks. Because I talked to the
Dang.
first one, I was like, in 1601. And then I read another source and I was like, we're in Boston in 1737. And then the next one, in Savannah, Georgia in 1813. I was like,
Right.
and all of them
Doesn't
said, first
Boston have a
time.
lot of Irish people? Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see them wanting to claim it for sure. But I'm sure they
Yeah.
all had some sort
Boston
of parade.
Boston and New York are the biggest places
Mm,
that um, people were immigrating into when they came to the US.
yeah.
Uh, so going back to what's happened, yeah, this should all be back to Ireland. In 1631, the church established a feast day that honored St. Patrick in Ireland, and feast day eventually evolved and basically was kind of like renamed or evolved into St. Patrick's Day, like in Ireland too. I don't think they call it
Slightly
feast
up.
day anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, over there. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. I was gonna say slightly appropriated by us. No, never mind.
Around the 1720s, the church assigned a botanical item, which apparently they do to different apostles. So they assigned him the lucky shamrock. So that's assigned to St.
Oh,
Patrick. So that's how like shamrock came in because
okay.
there wasn't a whole thing about shamrocks before that.
Oh,
Um,
weird.
yeah, so that became tied to him and then became tied to St. Patrick's Day celebrations as well.
Huh. They
Uh,
like to give people a little
yeah,
patron tree or flower or whatever.
yeah, a
Interesting.
botanical item. Uh, Later, soldiers serving in the English military marched in New York City on March 17th, 1772. I said, or 1762, to honor
Oh.
St. Patrick. And from there, the enthusiasm grew every year over basically the next 35 ish years. Um,
Hmm.
in 1798, the year of the Irish Rebellion, the color green became associated with the day. Before that, it was actually blue. Um, Blue was like
Oh.
the main color.
Do they
Yeah.
know why, I wonder?
It changed to green after the Irish chose to wear green during the Irish Rebellion, and soldiers began singing the song The Wearing of the Green while they were marching during the rebellion, which reinforced the color in Irish history.
Weird. So there's like
Yeah,
red and blue in the origins. Or like
yeah.
red with the leprechauns coats before. And then
Yeah,
they
what did
changed
they
to green.
say in the source? I think it said that they normally wear red, but because the people they were going up against or something were wearing red, like they chose to wear green or something, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah. You gotta
like it
differentiate
flipped.
yourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your shirts were
When
skins.
yeah, when the Great Potato Famine hit Ireland in 1845, close to
Damn.
1 million poor and uneducated Irish Catholics fled to America in order to escape the like rampant starvation.
Wow.
Many faced problems finding jobs, even like menial jobs, and based on, or this was in part due to differences of religion as well as education. Um,
Sure,
yeah,
just a
because they're
lot of like
Catholic.
people, yeah, and people being
Yeah,
biased and
yeah.
racist or whatever towards the Irish people, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So during this time, when they began celebrating their heritage, as like more immigrants came in, they started grouping together and trying to celebrate like their holidays, what was important to them, and their like history and everything. They
Yeah.
started celebrating St. Patrick's Day in the streets, and newspapers portrayed them in cartoons, like their little political cartoons, as drunk and violent monkeys.
Oh, good
Um,
lord.
yeah.
Yikes.
As a result of this, Irish immigrants kind of chose to rise above it. They banded together, and with their ever growing numbers in especially Boston and New York, they used their power to organize and become important swing votes for political hopefuls. Like, they
Okay,
really, like,
cool.
yeah. And suddenly, this violent image of like the immigrants in these parades or them trying to celebrate were transformed into great public displays of their heritage and strength and became a must see event for any of the political candidates. So they then became got important to the point where like if you were a political hopeful, you had to be seen at their celebrations and stuff. So it
Oh,
like
okay.
swung the other way and turned it into like
Yeah.
a good thing for like PR.
Oh, that's
To be
cool.
seen there. Around 1848, several separate parades in New York that happened in like different areas decided to unite their parades and form the official New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade. 100 years later, in 1948, President Harry Truman attended the New York City Parade, which was a very proud moment for Irish Americans who were still kind of fighting for acceptance in America, for the
Oh, okay,
president to be
cool.
seen at the parade.
Yeah.
In Chicago, another big place for Irish immigrants, they celebrated by dyeing the Chicago River green.
Oh
Um,
my god. I think I've
yeah,
heard of that. Like it sounds
I thought I
insane
had
though.
to. Uh, it said the practice started in 1962 when the city pollution control workers used green vegetable dye to track sewage discharges. Um,
Oh.
Realizing this could be used, later that year they released 100 pounds of dye into the river, which ended up turning the river green for a whole week. Um,
Shit.
they still do it today, but to minimize environmental damage, they use just 40 pounds of this vegetable dye, and the river turns green for it said several hours.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, because it's better if you're doing it for a good
yeah.
reason, not for the hell of it.
Yeah, no. Today, the New York St. Patrick's Day Parade is the world's oldest civilian parade, or is the oldest civilian parade in the US, sorry, with over
Oh.
150,000 participants. It takes a little over 5 hours from like start to finish, and normally there's on average about 3 million spectators like
That's a
lined.
lot.
Yeah. More than 100 St. Patrick's Day parades are now held across the United States, with New York and Boston holding the largest. Because of COVID, as you can expect, most places canceled them in 2020 and 2021, but most of them resumed starting in 2022, which is nice. St. Patrick's Day is also celebrated in Great Britain, Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, Switzerland, throughout Asia, and Russia.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of
Popular,
places.
yeah.
Yeah.
Popular St. Patrick's Day recipes include Irish soda bread, corned beef, and cabbage, and champ. When I looked up, I didn't know what
Champ.
champ was. It's a traditional. It
No.
said this was according to the internet. I can't remember the site. According to
As
the
per the
internet,
internet. Don't at
uh,
me.
it said traditional Irish champ is an easy side dish made with potatoes and green onions and can be served with an optional fried egg.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It does. Yeah.
It's all good. I
Um.
love it. I want to try the soda bread.
Yeah. I love
I love
corned
it.
beef. So,
Yeah, and then
and I
like,
do like cabbage. So, it's good in
there's a
soup.
lot of cabbage.
I love cabbage rolls.
Oh yeah. Now,
Yeah.
but now I just am like salivating over like nice deep, what are the pies, like the meat pies with
Mm.
Guinness in it, and like, oh, something with a Yorkshire pudding and a nice pot roast.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Now I'm hungry.
so good. I know.
Um. Oh, this is kind of like what's going on up to now. In Ireland, St. Patrick's Day is traditionally a spiritual and religious occasion. Up until the 1970s, Irish laws mandated that pubs are required to be closed. However, later in the 1970s, they began lifting the Lent restrictions for the day, and then pubs started being open.
Nice.
Starting in
The
1995,
option.
yeah.
If you want to be a degenerate.
Starting in 1995, the Irish government began a national campaign to use the interest in the day to increase tourism and showcase Irish culture. So that push really began in 1995.
Mm.
And as you said at the top of the episode, in the 1980s, Budweiser began the very popular tradition of drinking green beer to celebrate. It was part of their
Oh, they
slogan
started
and
that?
campaign. Yeah, Budweiser in the 1980s.
Huh.
Um,
This bud's green for you.
yeah. Last thing, which we've kind of both talked about it, much like Cinco de Mayo, many people now use this holiday as an excuse to binge drink, which can help foster
Yikes.
negative stereotypes by incorrectly associating the act of getting wasted with Irish culture.
Yeah, it's not great.
No, it's not great, but hopefully, and it said even on some of the sources and learning more about the history and what they do in Ireland, it's a better way to celebrate and appreciate the holiday than just
Yes.
getting a shamrock shake at McDonald's or going to get a green beer at a pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll connect a little more with our Irish roots.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. I had fun. I really enjoyed researching this, and happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Yay. Now go
It's March,
have
baby.
some bacon and cabbage and soda bread and corned beef and some
Oh,
champ.
that's
It
so
all
true.
sounds so good.
But not Champy, the lake monster.
No. CHAMP. Champ.
Chirp.
And I kept being like, is that like bacon? Back bacon? Because the other one talked about cabbage and bacon. This was cabbage and champ. So I was like, what is that? Is that bacon?
Oh my god.
Bacon again? I
Make me
love
want
bacon.
to. You're making me want to start doing what the podcast I've been listening to, the Crime Diner, where they'll then theme their stories with the food, and then they make food with it and
Mm.
eat it, and it's like so fun.
Oh.
I'm like, that's such a great idea. I love food.
Only if you do it. You're such a better cook than I am.
That's why they brought on a third person into their podcast, because both of them were like, well, we kind
Oh.
of hate cooking, and it's a lot like to do every week. But
Yeah, it would. Even when we do our little videos
yeah.
for Patreon and we're trying to make something, sometimes that can be a bit much.
Oh my god. Yes. Videos are hard, you guys. How
Yeah.
I can't talk. I was gonna say shout out. I tried to say shout out and hats off at the same time.
Oh, shut hats off.
Shat hat. No, shout out to all the YouTubers. You guys are how do you
Yes.
make videos? You're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shat hat. That's the Dark Putin slogan. Their
Shat
listeners
hat?
tell them to go shit in their hat, which
Oh,
apparently is something people say somewhere here in Canada, but
yeah,
I've
isn't
never really heard
there
it.
like shit in your hat and wear it or something?
Oh, that could be a thing. I
Yeah,
could see
I think
people
I've heard
saying
that
that.
before. Yeah.
It's not like big, but
Yeah.
all right,
Well,
we'll be back.
yes, for part 2.
Okay. Are we ready for part 2?
I am. Gordo's. Did you see his leg?
Oh, not that time. It might
His
be.
leg was like, might have been just out of the camera. He almost kicked the mic.
Oh God. The dog was I was just telling him not to kick the damn wall so much when he stretches on the floor to paint off with his damn toenails. Pardon me.
Yeah.
He hasn't
is too
to getting his nails cut, the little bastard.
Mm.
The big bastard.
Do you guys cut them or do you use that like filing thing? You can make them round.
Oh, cut. They're not just little clippers. I didn't know there was more of a file. Should try that.
Yeah, there's like a almost looks like the one they use them at nail salons. It's like a little rotating like emery board and it's on like a little almost drill
Oh,
looking thing. And you
okay.
like hold the
Yeah.
nail up and then you can like round it. And it goes pretty fast and it's got like safety things so you can't go like if your dog's nail is like I think a certain like size, it'll only go a certain amount in and you just round the nails.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be helpful because he's very pawsy, and then I end up with like long bruised scratches and stuff.
And his nail, like when he gets that, his
Yeah.
weight is just behind it, and then that's
Yeah.
big too. Like,
Yeah. Damn big dogs. He's so sensitive. Oh man. Okay, so I have for you today. I've prepared a dish of it's a medley of myths and legends.
I'm excited.
Actually, if it's just the weird mashup of a few guys, I blame. Where did I get the original like listicle? You know how you go like Irish
Yeah.
folklore or whatever, and then you find
Result
like
one, click.
Yeah, I think that like listicle, like those list articles, and you're like, okay, so
Yeah.
this was the first thing I landed on was the 10 most famous myths and legend from Irish folklore. So I don't know if
Ooh.
that's true. I mean, there's certainly a lot. It's almost
Yeah.
daunting. I
Yeah.
remember I looked some stuff up, or even just doing like when I was still a travel agent, doing some of the online courses you could do for different countries and destinations and whatever. It was like, oh my god, like they even talk about some of the folklore there, and then I start looking it up and I'm like, oh my god, there's so many stories. The Giant's Causeway, they think the Giants made it. It's all crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, once you, not like North America, once you get into the countries and everything that are just have such a long history.
That's true. I mean, we do have it's formidable here. It's not as long obviously as Europe, but people tend to forget that. I'll hear Americans be like, it happened here before 1776. It's like, well, yeah, there's been people here for quite a while before that.
They're called Native Americans. Like, fuck you.
Well, and like, the colonies that started, it's like you said, they were having St. Patrick's Day parades in the 1600s in
Yeah.
Florida or whatever.
Yeah, which shocked
So,
me. I did not think they were going to be like Florida and Georgia. I was like, oh.
yeah, it's the
Okay.
East Coast that got all settled
Yeah.
first. And anyway, shit, what was I? I forget. I'm just like, yeah, oh, just how long ago, I guess, people were here. Oh, okay, so North America's been settled, longer than we both were countries, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And Mexico too, the three countries, I should say. Um, we could even do a true crime one by state because we have like our top state still is actually the state of Virginia. So we see you, Virginia.
Ooh.
Maybe we should do a little.
West Point or whatever. Or no, Point Pleasant, Virginia.
Oh, is that the Mothy Man?
The Mothman.
Oh, damn, yeah. Virginia is spooky. I love it.
Yeah, there's quite a few like true crime cases, I think, from Virginia. I just love Virginia too, because that's Bernie Sanders. That's his like where he was
Oh.
senator. It's like, yeah, Bernie Sanders. And they have those
Oh, mitten hands.
yes. So cute. I am again asking you.
You're doing that.
The meme.
Hands, and I appreciate it, and I wish the listeners could see it.
But in Virginia, they have things. Are they called witch windows? Have you ever heard of this? So
Yeah, they're like
in
on their
Virginia,
side.
yeah, they put them sideways, and it's something to do with witches. And like Virginia's the only state or something that
Yeah.
still does it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we gotta look into that. It's like cool. Yeah.
I think
Anyway.
they talked about them on on Haynes, maybe. Anyway, that was our tangential other places we might cover.
Yeah.
And
Stay tuned.
Now back to Ireland. Okay, so this one I hadn't heard of, so I just have a quick little bit. I didn't really look up more than what was on the little first list. So, but she is Macha, goddess of the horses.
Ooh, sounds lovely.
Yeah. And why is everything out of Ulster too? Because
Yeah.
this next part. An old Irish legend out of Ulster says that Macha was a mysterious, maybe even magical woman who was pregnant, yet they forced her to race against the king's horses to pay for her husband's crimes.
Aw. Leave her out
Yeah.
of that.
Right? That's
Like,
just awful. I think that
just
says
go
a lot more about
squish
the
her.
people in the story than her.
Yeah, go squish her husband under a piece of wood and some rocks like they used to
Yeah,
do
what
when
happened to
they
the
accuse you.
husband?
Yeah, like don't make her while she's pregnant, like atone for his sins. Ugh.
Ugh, people in history are dicks. History's a bag of dicks. But this badass lady cursed the men of the town in revenge.
Love it.
And get this, for 9 decades they all suffered from labor pains.
The men did? They got
Yes.
PMS? Love it.
No, like they were like birthing a baby almost.
Ah! Yes.
They just like constant like, oh my god. Am I dilated yet?
I got a big shit. It's gonna go.
Well, Pat kind of laughed at me because I said something like, well, yeah, I get that it's a big deal and stuff, but I don't know why some people almost make so big of a deal of it that it's not like, it's just the same muscles you use to like push out a poo or whatever. Apparently, that's one of the first things I just like, he's like, that's what you said after you had our kid. I was like, well, it's the truth.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it hurt. Not saying it didn't. Don't get me wrong. But we were too late. I couldn't have the epidural thing.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, but that's okay. I got birth and hips, my mom always said.
So you're just like, I feel the ancestors of like before epidurals are. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, remember though? Sometimes they had like the twilight birth. They just wake up. There's a baby. They're like, how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At my work,
Um.
on the same day, two women became grandmothers, and both of them were like
Oh.
freaking out, and they're like, "Oh, my son and sister-in-law are like in the hospital, blah blah blah," and like they're so worried. We're so worried about them, and I was like, "Okay, there's
Oh.
literally like million babies born like every freaking day. Like we haven't been doing this
Oh. So
for
there was like no
thousands of years."
complications they
No,
were
and they were
particularly
still like
worried
so
about?
freaking out still. Yeah, no complications, nothing they were watching out
Okay.
for. And I was like,
They're like in
why
a
people?
hospital. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like,
It's not the
okay.
1700s.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the child mortality rate, like, like, is not what it used to be, thank God.
I mean, but still, I mean, obviously, yeah. Ugh, oh, that's weird.
But it was just like, okay,
So,
you're a bit too much.
yeah. The only other thing I have on Matcha, if I'm saying it right, is she's often associated with the Navan Fort in County Armagh. Armagh. I don't know. And according to Wikipedia, at least, is considered a goddess of ancient Ireland. So there's definitely a lot more
Nice.
I could have delved into there. Yes, I was just a little bit. And they also had just a little bit on some butterfly lore, which was kind of cool.
Ooh.
um, they are said to move between worlds, and bring messages and warnings to us. Um, and then they said they are thought to be souls that are kind of in between lives, if you will.
Oh. Yeah, I think we've talked about that before.
I think it's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. Um, and also that butterflies with dark wings, I put bring dark words, as George Martin would say. You know,
Ah.
like so. If you see the dark ones, then maybe it is bad tidings. But other than that, yeah,
Mm.
bring messages and just just that. They're kind of cool.
Nice. I love butterflies and moths.
All right, the next one I do too. Ressa has my sister has a death's head moth. That one from it's like Silence of the Lambs. That moth.
Oh, yeah.
She has that one tattooed. Yeah,
Cool.
pretty badass. The next one is one of the reasons why I had to show you some pictures, because there's a interesting depiction of what this creature could look like. It's the Puca. The
Oh.
Puca. There's actually many different
It's so
spellings, but I
cute.
didn't bother putting them in. Yeah, there's like I don't know what, a very furry, pointy-eared dog, monkey looking drawing
Yeah.
version of it. I don't even know
I'd say
what
it's like a
to
monkey
say.
slash cat slash bat. Monkey cat bat.
Yeah, it's got some feline features. Yeah, and then it's like prehensile tail. It's on a branch.
Yeah.
We will put pictures on the usual places. But it's a shapeshifter primarily.
Ooh.
So I don't know why people particularly you see that picture, but it comes up.
Yeah.
So it can like take on a dog form. It often takes on an animal form, but like it could take on a dog with red eyes, a goblin, or often takes a human with animal features form. So like,
Okay.
yeah, a tail, fur, large ears. It's just like part furry.
Yeah. Centaur.
Oh, centaurs are interesting because they show up in a lot of folklore from,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it comes up in like ancient alien theory stuff. Um, Their name, the Pooka name, comes from the Irish word for ghost or goblin. I read both, so I put both. I don't know. They are known to be able to, quote, turn a drunk walk home into a wild ride.
I mean, yeah. If you saw it
That can
like
happen.
coming towards you in a dark alley when you're drunk and stumbling, it would be a wild ride.
Yeah, yeah. Or he could be your crazy Uber driver.
5 stars. Please rate me 5 stars.
But actually, it's something that keeps coming up in our folklore and cryptids a lot lately, which is kind of the creepy take you for a ride and maybe drown you or throw you somewhere kind of cryptid.
Ooh. It's no buff horse with abs.
But it can take the shape of a horse, and it does a
Mm,
lot, just like all those
huh.
other, you know.
Interesting.
Yes, I love it. Like, I don't know. We need to do a deep dive. I got my red strings out. I'm connecting the dots on all the
Yeah.
horse cryptids.
You apparently just gotta do water horses that drown you.
Yes.
A whole
It's my
themed
next.
episode just about that.
It's if you want the deep dive series on Patreon. It could get wild.
How
Buff
many?
horses everywhere.
Yeah, washboard abs.
Don't even. There's cryptid romance novels.
I know.
All right. I love these several kind of anecdotal version stories of the from an Atlas Obscura article on the Puca, and that
Ooh.
was by Caleb Horton. So I paraphrase, but he kind of gave the ideas or whatever. So different ways the Puca can appear. So number one, picture it. You're living in Dublin. It's late autumn, and there's a crispness to the fall air. You're taking an evening stroll. Turn around at your gate to walk out, and a stranger in a suit is behind you. He starts listing off family secrets, your family secrets, all
What?
the affairs, all the lies, everything.
Okay.
He tells you your partner is going to leave you. You will lose all of your money and you will be left utterly alone and destitute, possibly even penniless.
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 Oh my. My
Pennywise's
word.
cousin.
Yeah, penniless.
Laughing, he turns around and disappears.
So he's the like Cheshire cat. All that's left is a smile.
Yeah, he just came to fuck with you and leave. Second scenario. Perhaps you are a plowman.
Okay.
Plowman. I can't say
I'm
it with a kid. That's what they said.
I'm
Maybe you're
picturing
a
it.
plowman. Kicking it in Kilkenny. You go for a pint. A Guinness, maybe. Or a harp. Can't forget about harp. You can get that here. I've tried it. It's good. I like a harp.
Okay.
It's lighter than a Guinness.
I'm not much of a
um,
beer drinker, so
eh, I mean, nah. I can have a few, but then it's like Caesars or Bloody Marys
yeah.
for those of you outside of Canada. Like it's just they can be heavy and a lot. Um, so you're at the pub. At last call, you stagger outside when silently a black horse sleekly just sneaks up on you. Its eyes seem to glow with a red flamey fire. I didn't write flamey fire. That was improvisation in the moment.
Love it.
But it seems nice enough, so you accept its offer of a ride home. Because it can
What?
talk.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say Uber
Oh, I
driver?
think. Yeah! It
Five
can
stars.
talk, though. If I understand correctly, they're just like, come on, get on. You know you wanna. Um, you climb onto its back and hang onto its mane as it gallops off into the night. faster and faster you race, leaping over fences, hills, and giant chasms. You blank out until you wake up later face down in a field, right outside the pub where you came from.
Oh. This was all just a drunken dream.
The thing someone was reading the other day was like a review that said, I went for a date here and then I don't remember anything else and I think it was aliens, and they were like, I think you got roofied.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but like it was like, oh no. Not funny, but it's funny. Or maybe you are a young child, just old enough to be helping your mother out picking berries on the family farm in Tipperary. I love that name. A dark, very shiny rabbit appears next to you. He starts chatting it up with you. You're new here, but long ago I lived in this house. He goes on to tell you he knows you have been very naughtily eating those berries before they can even get to the bucket. He tells you that by tomorrow all the unpicked berries will be fairy blasted or ruined. Ruined. He warns you not to play by the creek where danger awaits, and before you can reply, he vanishes. So those are the examples of the
So weird. I don't know. Are they bad? Are they good? I don't know.
Yeah, trickster, definitely.
Yeah.
Both sides of the coin at times, as we all are. But yeah, he likes to play with people, I think. Mine had a dude that was talking to everybody. There was Johnny Dillon. Yeah, that was his name. That's what I have. Johnny Dillon, a folklorist at University College Dublin, says sometimes a puka can be more grotesque. Quote, part bullock, part pig, and part mule.
Oh.
And a bullock, I guess, is like a bull. So from Encyclopedia Britannica, because I get confused about this with the bulls and...
Yeah.
Right, excuse me. A bullock is a steer, also called a bullock, a young neutered male cattle primarily raised for beef. In the terminology used to describe the sex and age of cattle, the male is first a bull calf, and if left intact, becomes a bull. If castrated, he becomes a steer, and about 2 or 3 years grows to an ox. Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Weird. I always wondered because, like, when Mom worked at King's Landing and stuff, they'd have oxen, and it's like, well, what's an oxen, and why are they different with the big horns? Like a big bull. I don't know. As demonstrated in the one story, the Pooka likes to, quote, abduct wayfarers at night, taking them on a frightening cross-country ride and leaving them back at their point of departure at dawn.
So is that so terrible? At least they return you home or back where they picked you up.
Yeah, could be worse, I would reckon.
Yeah, definitely could be worse.
Sorry. You come back basically unmolested, it sounds like, other than like scared. All right. Often associated with Halloween, primarily I think because they will destroy the crops, it's said, that aren't picked by Halloween or at the latest by November 1st. Yeah.
Pick they come crops, with the people. Frost.
Yes. The froost.
The froost. The bifrost.
We'll never stop.
The bifrost.
Go back a few episodes if you don't understand. That's all I know. Bifrost. One farmer said that the folklore collector Jim Delaney spoke to... See, now it's Jim Delaney. Wasn't it Johnny Delaney? Do I have two guys in my story?
They're twins.
Had one guy. Oh, the other guy was Johnny Dillon. That was a different folklorist. Okay. That's right.
It's a requirement of folklorists.
This guy talks to a few old farmers. One farmer that the folklore collector Jim Delaney spoke to. I've worded that sentence terribly. I'm sorry. But the farmer that they spoke to was named Pat Johnson. And he said if you didn't pick all your blackthorn berries, which are also called sloes, before
Oh,
Halloween, the Puca would shit on all the sloes so they couldn't be used or eaten ever. I thought that was
nice.
so funny. And also, I
Well,
didn't know that's what sloes were because I've heard of slow gin, but if you just hear it, you think it's slow gin. Like maybe it's made slowly, but no, it's SLOE. So that's what these berries are called, apparently.
okay. Cool.
The more you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can be quite occasionally quite good or helpful. Uh, I believe usually only on November 1st, which as we'll
Mm.
come to learn is their day. It's Puka Day.
Puka day.
That and that's they can then bless you with good luck or protection. But other than that day, it's hard to say if they'll ever do that. So it's best to just try and avoid them.
Good
um,
advice.
right, if at all possible. Don't poke the puka. You can also try to ward them off, rather, with charms, spurs, and cold iron. If you got that laying around. Um, or some people use the simple test that you can have kind of at your home. So it said that lots of people will have benches on the right side of their front door and something more like an uncomfortable bench or some other hard thing on the left side because a happy puka, it's known, will only sit on the right. So if it sits on the
Okay.
right, you got yourself a pretty decent puka in your midst, in your county. There
So you
you
put
have it.
something uncomfortable on the right for the happy one to sit
They'll sit on the right if they're happy, so they usually try to make the right look more inviting and
on?
comfortable.
Oh, okay. I mixed it up.
Apparently, I could be
Okay.
getting it wrong. I'm not too sure.
I'm looking at the other pictures of them where they look. A couple of them almost look like little tree owls. Like,
Okay,
I think.
there
Or
was a
maybe
few
it's like
weird
fur.
images.
It's
Like you
kind of
just
drawn
search
like
puka.
tree.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's well, the fur in some of them is almost drawn like kind of like Groot, like just spirally tree branchy kind of look. Like they're not terrible. Like they're kind of cute. The one kind of looks like a grumpy
Yeah.
little toad, just like. Meh.
Yeah. I know. You're like, okay, so like we should be scared of them, but also then you make them cute.
Yeah, they're not terrible. They're not like ugly and like grotesque.
That's true. That
Yeah.
was probably a me word. um, so, okay, this is from yourirish.com. Many small mountainous lakes and springs in Ireland are called puka pools or pola puka, which means
Hula
puka or
puka puka.
demon hole. Pola, pola puka? It's kind of spelled like pola fuka, but again, there was like
Hmm.
spellings of puka that would look like that.
Yeah.
A lot of spellings. Too many to go through. Some of these are found at the sources of major Irish rivers, such as the Liffey, that runs through Dublin City, or the River Bon, which is the longest river in the north of Ireland that runs through the town Coleraine. And I did not look up any of those either, so I am sorry if I said that wrong. Another farmer that the folklorist spoke to about the puka was an 80-year-old named Willie Rourke of County
Really?
Roscommon.
Really?
Willie Rourke, and no word on any relation to Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
So he told Jim Delaney how the puka often appears to lone travelers on rural roads and paths after dark, especially in fall and winter. He sometimes appears as, quote, an old man coming up the road with a big stick up under his arm and a big whisker on him. Sorry, he sounds kind of like rambly, like Grandpa Simpson. After November night, no one would be caught out. Any child would be caught out after that, and the Puka would bring him off, stick his 2 horns into him, and carry him off.
Oh,
Whew.
that doesn't sound good.
Carry him off? I can't. How do I. What is it? Fiddle-dee-dee. We're Irish. I can't do accent.
I was thinking fiddle-dee-dee potatoes.
Is that what it is? Yes, that's what it is. I was saying that the other day. Oh, also, The Simpsons. They have had portrayed leprechauns, and it's also very problematic. And
don't they have one? They have
biting.
that.
Yeah, they've like this crazy little leprechaun that shows up sometimes that's like really demented and is like, hide.
Yeah, that guy.
It's terrible.
Out of the very small handful of Simpsons episodes I've ever seen, I can picture this leprechaun perfectly.
Yes. He's definitely like a recurring character. Then there's an episode where there is a St. Patrick's Day parade and stuff. Yeah.
Fun.
It's great. All right, so back to 82-year-old Patrick Johnson. Patrick's today. Go figure.
Yeah.
I went downstairs at the break and said, "Hello, Patrickus." He was like, "Hi." I'm like, "Oh, okay." They didn't accomplish what they wanted to in their game. That's why. Anyway.
Oh.
6 hours of game and then it's like people still fucking up. Anyway. No. My words. Jeez. Anyway. So, okay, this is what he said in 1964. Quote, "The Puka would come behind you and he'd run his head right in under your 2 legs and he'd hoist you back on him and away you'd start. And he'd tear you through the bushes and you'd get all torn and he'd fling you off when he'd think you had had enough of it."
Oh, that sounds awful. 2 horns up the butt.
That sounds like, there's some expressions like you're drugged through, you look like you've been drugged through a hedge backwards or rode hard and put away wet. Yeah, that would be rough.
Yeah.
He mentions hearing of a few occasions where people were able to escape the Puka, however, and they did so using a magic word, which I'm going to attempt to say out loud for the first time here now. Spodine There's a lot of E's, and most of them are together. Spud, like a potato. Spud-in-a-giro. Sounds like it should be in Mary Poppins. No offense. So they said that, and then they prodded the horse on its side, and he allowed them to dismount safely and make his way, flee home.
Yeah.
Love it. And one story says that a crazy person sought out a Puka to ride them. He sought it out to get on it.
Okay.
Crazy person. So of course his name was Brian. No, I'm just kidding. That's one of my ex's names, though. And he had red hair. It's fine. His name was Brian Boru. Boru? How would you say that? Boru? That sounds better.
Maybe, yeah.
And he was High King of Ireland about 1,000 years ago. So someone probably knows how to say his name.
High King of Fillory.
Oh my god, the magicians. Yes. He is said to have done this by braiding strands of hair into a bridle, or sort of braiding strands of hair. That was my interpretation. Like into a bridle to put onto the Puka and then rode it.
Jeez.
Crazy. Must have been some, I was gonna say crazy horse girl, but it's crazy horse guy.
Yeah, Brian.
Brian, what are you doing, Brian? In some countries, or counties in Ireland, rather, I'm told the farmers still leave out a bit of their crops once they're harvested, I imagine, as an offering for the Puka that, supposed to help ensure they'll leave you alone come November 1st.
Okay.
which is Pooka Day, don't you know?
There's a lot of
um,
that, like leaving stuff as offerings for
yes.
different cryptids.
And hopefully not just, I'm always just worried about getting mice instead. But that's all.
Yeah. If you don't do it like right by your house, do it like
Did you
a
know
few
that
meters
Fen,
away.
the dog, like Fen has this bad habit of hoarding any treats you might give him,
Oh,
which is, if it's a bone or something, sure, but then like sometimes he'll like looking at me and I'm like, I don't have anything. And one time I gave him like, okay, you know what the Yorkshire puddings are, the little,
yeah.
which I probably shouldn't have, but then we find it like hidden downstairs in the corner in the basement. Like, you can't
Oh my
just
god.
hide your food in the corner, just eat it. We're not starving you. My god, like you're getting
Right?
chonky. Weirdo. Oh, he's a hoarder. So as sort of mentioned on November thirst. That's not bloopers, bloopers.
Third or first?
November thirsty. No. November 1st, they were wont to do nicer things for you, the Puka, such as to dole out advice or perform acts of charity or give prophecies, even. And one of the nicer stories that I read, what happened on a cold night when a farmer's son was out in the field or somewhere, probably working away. He was feeling the chill, and then he felt the presence of a Puka. But he did the nice thing and offered the chilly Puka a coat to wear.
Oh.
So, yes, the Puka was very thankful and began to do actually the family's milling of the corn for them into flour every night. So, they were blessed with that, and they were also blessed with financial prosperity and fertile soil. And when the Puka eventually left, it gave them a gold cup filled with a magic drink that made them euphoric. Damn.
Drugs. Have some LSD.
Magic beer?
Well,
With that Harry Potter potion that smells like everything you love and makes you lucky.
oh,
Felix Felicis or something.
yeah.
It was goldish. And finally, a shallow dip into the folklore creature that we've all maybe heard of a little bit, even in an expression tangentially, the
Yeah.
banshee.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
we may have talked about them a little bit when I did
Did we?
um the Wendigo. People talk about them kind of with
Oh,
Wendigos a little bit.
damn, I don't remember that now. Holy shit, I gotta go listen again.
I think
They,
it's just like their calls or whatever that they make
that's what they're
is
just
similar
known
to
for. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like the scream of the banshee, you hear like
Yeah.
shriek like a banshee or things like that. That's kind of colloquially like yeah, just expressions now. Yeah, it's interesting because like even the original word is spelled so differently because it is Irish or Irish Gaelic or it's like
Hmm.
if you didn't know it was pronounced banshee, I would probably pronounce it bean sidhe. So it's it's just one of those
Oh,
very
wow.
unique, like that cryptid that you had to look up and like if you had to
Yeah.
describe. If you had to try and phonetically pronounce it, it would probably sound like each usage, but it's like Gaelic or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Oh, some of those cryptids, man.
Right? And then trying to Google how do you pronounce this cryptid name, you get like two results, and you're like, cool, nobody ever says this word.
Nobody cares about these things. We need to advocate for cryptid pronunciation. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Banshee are also known as the Fairy Women of Death, or she might be called the Fairy Woman of Death. They are known to wail and warn families of an impending death in their midst. So they're,
Okay. A
yeah,
warning.
like you hear them, someone in your family's gonna die. Ugh. The scream also has a probably Irish spelling. I don't so it's usually called keening. I don't know how to say the other Caoine. Maybe that's keen. But you'll see that a lot too. They're keening, they're wailing, stuff like
Mm,
that.
I've heard of that
And each
before. Yeah.
family came to have its own banshee over time. Isn't that fun?
Each family. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it seemed like each county got its own Puca. Now we're down to each family. This is like a family
Yeah.
ghost almost. It's so cool. In a weird way.
Pass down this banshee. She's been in our family for 500 years.
Yeah. Pardon me. Okay. Oh, the different forms. Slightly different forms, I'll say. It's all a woman, variations. um can be beautiful woman wearing a shroud, a pale woman in a white dress with long red hair,
Mm.
a woman in a long silver dress with a headless woman carrying a bowl of blood naked from the waist up.
Okay, that one's slightly different.
It's a little different. Almost wrote a bowl of bread when I was typing my notes, and that would have also been different. You get a bowl of bread. No. An old woman with frightening red eyes, a green dress, and long white hair, or an old woman with a veil covering her face, dressed all in black with long gray hair.
Yeah, one of those things is still not like the other. The
One time she's got a
headless
little bit of blood. Yeah,
headless with a big old bowl of blood.
that's true. That's true. That one I could pick out of the lineup.
Yeah.
So stories of the banshee go back as far as the 8th century and stem from the
Wow.
traditions of having a actual family howling woman or keeners. So not because they were eager beavers, keeners,
Yeah.
but because they did the keening and the wailing to lament a loved one who passed in the family. So these are real people in the
Okay.
family. This comes up in Outlander. I was familiar with it. I was like, oh yeah, like because there was this one girl and their grandmother was trying to teach her how to wail at someone's funeral, and she was like, oh, no voice like a bat or something. The girl's just trying her hardest. Like she's such a bitch about it. Anyway. Um but yeah, they had them in the family, and these keening women were thought to be, oh yeah, so this is fun. Not. Were thought to be sinners and doomed to become banshees themselves.
Well, oh my god. This is our designated failure. She's good at screaming and gonna become a banshee.
Not yeah, it doesn't seem like a nice thing to condemn someone to in your family for
Yeah.
upholding a family tradition for you.
Yeah, that you're required every family to have.
It's like this is the thanks I get. Great.
Yeah.
But then again, yeah, there were some of those weird, no, well, weird to me, I guess. It's not in my, it's not, I don't know my Scottish culture, but like the thing, yeah, in the Scottish too, where they think the last person to die guards the cemetery. There's just some that just by
Yeah.
default just kind of like fall on you. But this one seems very more
Because I
like
know there are
on purpose.
cultures, I can't remember which ones were like it is typical for the widow to be like super like, oh my god, like throwing themselves on the coffin, wailing,
Yeah,
pounding their fists, and if they aren't doing that, then they
sure.
aren't properly mourning.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right. And that's how they show their respect. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
different across all cultures. Yeah, interesting. We could definitely do a dive there. But this, yeah, this is kind of interesting. So one of the reasons why they gave is why they thought that these women were sinners and doomed to become banshees, these keening women, was because they dared to accept alcohol as a form of payment for their services.
Wow.
I don't know. It's confusing because I don't know why they need to be paid, but it's like, great. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
According to legends, if a banshee is spotted, she will vanish into a cloud of mist, and this action creates a noise similar to that of a bird flapping its wings. Sounds like a vampire.
Poof, I'm
Which,
gone.
there apparently were some kind of Irish vampire, but I was like, I don't have time to get into it. Ah! So cool. So, are they good or bad? Well, not exactly a trickster, but it might just depend here on who your family is itself. I kind of got the idea that if you liked your family, that you would appear more as a beautiful sort of banshee, and if you didn't, well,
Hmm.
then you wouldn't. So
Yeah.
yeah, some will manifest as a beautiful woman that sings like a hauntingly beautiful song, filled with all the love and concern for the family. So obviously that's the one probably that likes her family.
And the other one's the headless in the bowl of blood.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting that vibe. This song, quote, this song can be heard a few days before the death of the family member, and in most cases, the song can only be heard by the person for whom it is intended. So that one's like a gentle warning, it sounds like, for you. Just for you.
Like the cats that live at not funeral homes, like hospitals or like hospices that go to your door and you're like, damn, the cat came in and was like on my bed. And
Just
that's
like
like
the one
supposed
in
to be,
Doctor Sleep, too.
yeah.
I love that.
You're like, oh, that's the one to die.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy that shit happens. So then you get your bad banshee who appears very angry and like she's walking out of the ring.
Yeah. Horrifying.
Yeah. She probably didn't like her family so much. She's gonna have these shrieking cries that chill your blood because she's just delighting in the death that's happening in the family. Just loving it.
Mwahahaha.
Yeah. And even other Irish myths, some say that the banshee is rather the ghost of a young girl that died in a violent manner, and that she remains to warn families of imminent violent death coming. So that's different.
Yeah, I think that might be the one I've most heard.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. There's different versions. Other than that, but yeah, most likely, or more often, probably depicted as the kind of old woman trope: rotting teeth, long scraggly hair, nails.
Yeah.
Some say her eyes are so full of evil rage they can kill you on the spot if you should look into them.
Ooh. All right.
Right? Like that X-Men that has that power.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cyclops.
Or yeah, is that his name? Okay.
I think so.
Like the Greek actual. Okay, makes sense. Um Gotta love that her mouth might just appear to be perpetually open in a tormented scream.
Hmm.
And even some darker tales tell of a banshee so hell-bent on death that she picks a victim and shrieks and screams at them until they go insane or just kill themselves.
Oh.
Yeah. So then you're back to that crazy horse gonna drown you vibe.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, no, that's not good. Couple more points. How do they get their precognitive sort of knowledge? Some
Mothman.
say that each what?
I said Mothman.
Mothman. No, but it's still kind of you might like it. It's just said that some say it's believed that it's believed that each family has its own observer.
Ooh.
I know, I
September,
thought,
are you out there?
right? That's what they call them. That's your man in black.
Yeah.
And they follow around the family and then report back to the banshee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
Nice,
just
nice.
some people and places, it's just so superstitious that it was almost considered blasphemous not to believe in the banshee.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, that is the story of the banshee and a couple other Irish mythy guys.
Very cool.
I had fun. There were so many you could get into.
There
We could
was a lot.
go
That's why I
back.
kind of was like, St. Patrick's Day, I'll do leprechauns and St. Patrick's Day. I was like,
Right?
just to narrow it down because there was so many, and then
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to look up snippets, and I was like, I knew you were gonna do some, and I was like, oh no,
It's
maybe.
nice. It's you're spoiled for choice. It's not like you're going, okay, we
Yeah.
don't want to overlap and cover too much. You're kind of like, oh, I'll cover this, 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 and this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's fun to just do a few sentences or two on some things because some things don't, couldn't be a full half episode or a segment or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes there isn't a lot, but you still want to talk about something.
Oh, exactly. That can be fun.
Hopefully everybody enjoyed this episode. And what are we doing next
Whoop,
week?
whoop. Well, okay, we've been on a Celtic kick, but this one is a true crime that is not necessarily anything to do with that. It is going to be good though because it's medical crimes. That
Yeah.
is a good theme. There's so
Mhm.
many angel of death
Anything.
doctors.
Yeah. Doctors, nurses, anything
Dr.
medical
Death.
related. Yeah.
Oh damn.
Thou
Yeah.
shalt
Should be
not.
interesting.
What's the Hippocratic oath or whatever that they take?
Mm-hmm. Just do no
The,
harm.
yeah, do no harm.
That's right.
Man, they doing all the harm. It's like,
They're doing all that. Yep, they got their little snake in there. It's a snake across a sword thing. I don't know. I was just reading a Eric von Däniken book. He's got like 40 books out about ancient aliens
Oh,
theory. So he's one of the ones that's always on the history show. Yeah,
is he
really good.
crazy
It's
hair dude or not?
no, he's Austrian,
Okay.
older dude, German accent. It's always
Uh,
on there. Anyway, he's usually wearing like a nice blazer. Modest haircut.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he just talks about all the megalithic places around the world and shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so interesting. But yeah, he was talking about ancient Greece and where that little symbol comes from that the doctors
Oh,
use, and yeah,
that's cool. I don't
it's
know anything
interesting.
about that, but I always thought it was such a weird symbol.
It is. I'm not saying I know that much more about it, but he mentioned it, and it had to do with some other dude, not Hippocratic guy. I don't know. I was like, damn, there's so much to Greek myths, and we could
Yeah.
do mythology and lore all day, y'all.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have time for the castles and the cryptids and the crime.
Yeah. We'll just be C.
Plus a little L and L, lore and legends, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening.
Yes. Bye. This has been Castles and Cryptids. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and our YouTube channel. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. On our website, you can listen to all of our episodes as well as view pictures for each of our segments. Check out our Patreon page to view all of our tiers and become a Patreon supporter today to unlock monthly bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes content. We are working on an Ask Us Anything. You can submit questions by social media or by email at castlesandcryptids@gmail.com. Do you have a spooky ghost story, a creepy cryptid sighting, or a thrilling true crime tale you would like to share and have us include in a future episode? Send us your listener story by social media or by email. Please include the name that you would like mentioned. Our music is by Kobe Fair. Our logo and artwork is by Antonio Garcia. Thanks for listening.